Yes, good afternoon. Welcome once again to this edition of the Wake Up Guyana show. I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie, and it is a beautiful day. It is Thursday, September the 17th, 2020. And what is happening today? Today, Guyana prepares for the visit, a regional visit. Several countries is going to be touching down on, and Guyana is going to be one of them, and no other than one of the most powerful men in the United States of America, Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, and he is coming to Guyana, and this would have come weeks after Guyana has a new president, has a government in place after a 5 months of wranglings, of court issues, and so this where we at. So that he's supposed to be touching down in Guyana today. Already on the ground are several officials as part of the security detail. They would have arrived on a special plane a few days back in preparation for the Secretary of State's visit to Guyana. So that is one of the major news that we're looking at. And today also, the Kaieteur newspaper would be ramping it up. If you look at the front page, they're saying and they're asking very, very clearly here. They've cleared the entire page to dedicated to the whole issue of oil. Oil dominates this visit, according to the Kaieteur News, and we are going to have a look at that. We're going to have a discussion on it, and then we have some other developments that we're going to be talking about in a very short while. So it is the headline on September the 17th, 2020, and these are just the front page here. Kanji and Kaieteur oil blocks given out under suspicious circumstances. Awards among to daylight robbery, Dr. Jan Mangel. And this would have been questioning those oil blocks which were reportedly given out very shortly before the 2015 elections, in which there was a change of government and the coalition came on board. And there were some questions over who these persons were that benefited them from these two oil blocks. And it's important that these two oil blocks be questioned because they're located right next to that those very lucrative ones that Exxon has at the moment offshore Guyana, about 100 miles offshore Guyana, where they found over 8 billion barrels of oil that is extractable. And so when you give it out to somebody else, they have to show a track record. And so that's what the question is. The nation must know who the real owners of the Kanji and the Kaieteur oil blocks. So this is important, and there's a photograph there of U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, former Minister of Natural Resources Robert Prasad, and former President Donald Ramatar. Sorry, and so there's also a map of the area where the oil blocks are located. And so I'm going to read very quickly what is it that we have here in terms of the front page comment here. We welcome United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in Guyana. We thank him for his role in ensuring that the democratic will of the people was respected in relation to the elections of 2nd of March 2020. America stands for democracy, and America stands by Guyana, stood by Guyana during the attempt to steal the elections and revert Guyana to a state of political dictatorship. For this, we're grateful. America also stands for transparency and accountability in Guyana. American companies should not be doing business in a country where deals are being kept secret. American companies should not be involved in investing in oil blocks, the owners of which are concealed from the public. We're concerned about reports that an American company, ExxonMobil, has brought in to oil blocks owned by persons, the bona fides of which are not known, but who are believed to be part of secret arrangements involving local politicians. The public knows that ExxonMobil is the owner of Stabroek Block consisting of 6.6 million acres, but there is haziness over the awards of the Kanji and Kaieteur blocks, which combined consist of 4.8 million acres. ExxonMobil had bought into to portions of these blocks. So, Global Witness reported that it has had interviewed the former Minister of Natural Resources, Robert Prasad, under whose tenure the Kanji and Kaieteur blocks were given out. He is reported to have told them that he did not know who the beneficial owners are and that it was not necessary for him as a minister to know. He did, however, say that he knew some of the people who would sign documents for the companies. The Guyanese public is entitled to know the owners of the Kanji and Stabroek block. A feature of democratic governance is transparency, something which is sadly lacking in Guyana. As we welcome Mike Pompeo to Guyana, a country which is being touted as a potential investment hotspot in the Western Hemisphere, reminding him of the need we remind him of the need to impress upon Guyana's leaders the need for transparency when dealing with the country's resources. So this is interesting here from the front page of Kaieteur News. There's a World Bank report. The pandemic has threatened to wipe out, and this is the COVID-19 pandemic, the gains in the last decade. This is very, very worrisome. That's how bad this pandemic is. Every time you would have saved some money. This morning I saw a local businessman says that he would have been back start trying to restart his business, and the first thing that he saw was his light bill. And that light bill says that he has, although he has LED lights and he has not been burning AC, 500 plus $1,000 he has a bill that he has to pay. So this is really going to eat into a lot of businesses, the reserves that they would have put aside for expansion among other things, and now they have to put those money into operational and other costs. And so we go on. Let's see what else is happening here in Guyana's biggest newspaper. The bank's chief named chairman of the Gaisuko's board. Anthony Vera is vice chair. Well, Anthony Vera was one who was always very critical of the running of the sugar industry. And so this government has seen it fit. They says, oh, you've been talking a lot, so you come on board here and let us see what you have. Let's see those talks be translated into dollars. And of course, you had a very experienced banker, Pravin Chandra Dave, and he is no other than the chief elections officer of the Denmark Bank, and he is going to be the chair, or he is the chairman of the Guyana Sugar Corporation. The government has made it very clear that three out of those four estates that were closed by the coalition in the last 5 years, they are going to be open. So the ones that the government is looking at right now to see what they could do, and already they've allocated $5 billion to see what could happen here, and I presume it's going to be a work in progress. And so the three estates are Skeldon, Rose Hall, and Enmore that they're looking at right now. So that's going to bring us back into play with 6 estates functioning. What we have right now is Albion, Blairmont, and Iflot. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think Sesnarayan Singh, a financial analyst who has been very critical of the running of Gaisuko as well as the finances of this country under the coalition, he is the chief executive officer acting. So he is going to have his work cut out for him, because it's going to take a lot of money and it's going to take a lot of things. So let's see what else here. Barbados proves that PNC leaders are frauds, and this is Freddie Kissoon, very brutal on the leaders of the PNC there. Barbados proved that the PNC leaders are fraud. So let's see some other headlines here. Inefficient functioning of the iFood factory leads to workers dogging tools. Interesting story. So if we're not doing enough to make sugar because of inefficiency, we dogging tools to exacerbate the situation. We got to see what happened. And this is a issue here. This story here is something that we should be paying attention to. Overturned truck causes major traffic jam on the East Bank of corridor yesterday, and there's some pictures here, very graphic photos of the truck on the ground, and for hours yesterday, who was caught in traffic. Traffic was almost a standstill. It was reduced to one lane, and so you had the East Bank corridor is is the most busiest road network in this country, and so when you have traffic being slowed because of to a one way, you can understand what would have happened with traffic there in the Diamond area. It was madness yesterday. It was for the second day in a row. Traffic on these banks was horrendous. It has underscored the importance of what we need to do to bring this country up to par with the developing world. We need more roads. It takes money. Where are we going to get the money from? And so that is a big thing. We have resources. We have to find those resources, and we have to make sure that that happens. So this is something that is deeply worrying. Imagine if there was an ambulance or something, what would have happened? We have in this country, we have to be careful. This truck looked as if it was overweight as well. It had too much lumber packed in it. I'm not sure who this truck belonged to, but whatever it is, we need to. The authorities also need to look back at the damage that these overweight vehicles, trucks, among other things, would be doing to our roadway. Our road is not built to withstand, the constant hitting of it every single day by overweight vehicles. We really have to have these scales at specific points so these vehicles could be tested and make sure that they're not overweight when they do it. Lusignan prisoners refuse meals pelt officers over COVID-19 cases, and the prisons would have said they managed to quell an incident or some incidents yesterday at the Lusignan prison. This would have come after cases, we understand. Officially, the authority says 2 cases. We were told by sources that's more like 10. So something is wrong here with the figures that is coming out from the authorities here. But this is a deeply worrying situation. We have a total of 1,000 prisoners, inmates, that are being kept at a number of facilities across the country, starting from New Amsterdam, Lusignan, Georgetown. You have also in the Mazaruni River there, the Mazaruni prisons, you have a Timiri. And when you have those persons there, close proximity of each other, and they are rubbing shoulders with each other, it is something to be worried about, that people, regardless that they've committed crimes or they are on remand or so on, these are human beings, and we have a right to protect them. And so we should be worried because that is a disaster waiting to happen. 5 remanded for beating death of bad settlement man June protests. This is a very important case. This was a separate protest that was happening in the number 5 Cotton Tree area as a result of the killing of those 2 boys. This is another incident which a man allegedly came out of his car and shot into the air and then into the crowd, and they converged on him. And when the dust was settled and when the crowds were cleared, when the police, who were not far away, rushed on, he lay on the road, this man, and he died. They've arrested 5 persons. I understand it's 6 actually, and those persons have been remanded. So it's a very important story in that sense. The injured pilot on the crash plane identified. He's a known drug trafficker in Brazil. That's what the story is saying. 14 Parliament staff has tested positive for COVID-19. This is not an easy story here, It has just driven home the points. And this would have come as well as that we have news that 2 more persons have died as a result of this COVID-19 pandemic. That means we're touching almost 60 there, if not 60. I think we should be touching 60 very shortly. And this is not that wishful thinking, but it is what it is. Our country is facing, the entire world is facing it, and there's some persons who can't just handle the ravages of COVID-19. My body is aching a little today. I'm trying to make sure that I keep above, I'm using I bought a fruit bowl. I be sterilizing the entire office here, just to be able to talk. If I put on the mask and I talk in it, it doesn't work so well for me. I have to take it off, and so we have cleared the entire office, and that's what we're doing. Then we're going to sterilize it back again. But it is not an easy thing. Please, folks, please take care of your health. Please ensure that we do whatever it is to protect ourselves. Man's decomposed body found in house at 71 Village. So I think that those are the big stories here today in the Kaieteur newspaper. Let me tell you some other things that you should be paying attention to. Pompeo's visit is going to be one of the most powerful persons from the U.S. government in Guyana since we would have achieved independence in the 1960. So this is very important. When it comes to our people, when it comes to the role that Guyana plays in the entire world and the scheme of things, and to have a man of the stature of the Secretary of State, it means that Guyana is being looked at at a very important as a very important player, geographically, politically, and so many things. Economically, we are we have that kind of that importance here. So two warnings issued also to a opposition parliamentarian. You remember this gentleman by the name of Sherrod Duncan. Sherrod Duncan is from the opposition, and he has been accused, or he was warned early this week here about a Facebook post he made about food poisoning from staffers, and the suggestion was that it was deliberate, that they ate something at the parliament there, and the opposition people would have suffered from food poisoning, and the speaker Mansour Nadir would have warned him and says, "Look, this thing, be very careful. There were other people who fell sick too, and we're looking at this situation." Today again, Mansour Nadir, as Speaker of the House, would have warned Sherrod Duncan about this particular post. I believe that Parliament, based on what you say in there, Parliament wants it to come down. And so Sherrod Duncan is headed for a collision course with in his very first second week or so into the debate, as well as the presentation of the emergency budget. And he's already found himself in some hot water here. Is he going to pull it down, or is he going to face the wrath of Parliament, which could sanction him? So we are going to continue to pay the attention that as Sherrod Duncan, and of course, and it was described as offensive by the Speaker of the House, that post, and he is saying that, we hope to see some positive actions, and he's making it very clear that he wants to see the post is down. GWI owes GPL $7 billion. Let me repeat that. GWI owes GPL $7 billion. How does GWI, which is making so much money, would have gotten an increase, would be owing all around the place? I'm not sure what happened here. We need to have an understanding of the situation of GWI there, because everything seemed rosy and dandy. A lot of contracts were being given out. I'm not sure. People need to understand what happened here. So the flags are flying all around Georgetown. I saw some American flags. Some people commenting like we are Americanized right now, but this is the visit of the United States Secretary of State, Mr. Pompeo, Mike Pompeo, and he is due to arrive a little later today. And today, thank you very much. There was the traffic seemed to have been a little easier. We would have had traffic flowing on these banks. Georgetown wasn't so bad again, and so in a very very short while, we are going to be joining a mother of some students who are going to school in the public school system. We have yesterday spoken to somebody in the education system, and that person would have told us major challenges, at least about a third of all the students in on the coastline that she's aware is not benefiting from the internet, and that is obvious why we don't have internet to all the schools. So we're asking also that maybe we could get some good business people here. Let us go for about 100 laptops, or maybe we could go for 100 of those tablets, and let's see if we can find 100 such students and give it out to them. So we're going to start the ball rolling. If you guys have something, whatever it is that you could come on board with, let us do something with them. I'm going to start with the first maybe 5 or so. I'm gonna try. I'm not sure if the Amazon Fire tablet is gonna work. I'm gonna ask my friends to do it, and so I'm gonna get some donations here. But if you could aim for 100, we're gonna find 100 students, and we're gonna do that, and we're gonna use this medium here, and I'm gonna try to get our ministers so involved when this debate is finished, so that they could come on board and assist us. Some donations here to make it happen. What Gildarie is going to try to reach out to people so we could, be able to help, a few very unfortunate students. I'm opening up my home to for a couple of students who want to use internet. We are gonna have to do something about that. So let us see where that goes. But we can't stand by idly. And I know that there are people with money in this place here. You need to dig into your pocket, cut out the drinking or something. If you're drinking 10 beers, could we do five and let us get some of those money? So we could put it in a kitty jar and we could do 100 of those laptops or tablets for people. We want to help. Let us do some help. And it doesn't start with government, it starts with people like you and me. And we have good people in this country. So let us see what happens in this beautiful country of ours. And of course, in a very short while, I'm going to ask Raj to, in another couple of minutes, if you could start maybe now, Raj. Maybe we could get onto that number there. And then let's see if we talk to that godmother to find out how it is that her kids and what she's hearing with regards to education. It's very important. A lot of people would have been receiving calls. In the meantime, we want to hear those text messages come through. 6222222. 6222222. And in 10 minutes or so, thereabouts, we are going to open up the lines. We are going to open up the lines. And we're gonna make sure that we take all those calls. Yesterday was pretty good. It was such a warm feeling knowing that we have so many good people in this country tuned in, want to hear what is this.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, yes. Good day.
Yes, good day, caller. You on the air. Go right ahead.
Yes. I'm calling from Essequibo.
Executable post.
Yes, Supanam.
Yes, Superdam. Could you raise the volume, please? Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I called with an issue from Study Hospital.
What happened with Study Hospital?
My my wife was in there.
Uh,
They do a CS, and when she finished doing the CS,
there's a cesarean section. Yes.
right, the nurse them that work in there, they ain't really dressed in this cotton. Neither that they had the right treatment. They never complained. They never tell nobody.
How
And
long ago was this, sir?
uh,
How long ago was this?
that's like, so they make 14 days. So that's like,
2 weeks.
the baby born the 4th.
Mm.
Yeah. So I had to go and take self-discharge and bring she out and buy the treatment.
Mm-hmm.
8 days after, which in other patient go right in there, get the right treatment, and got discharged within 3 days and come out.
Mm-hmm.
And when other nurse go and run the patient chart and ask why this patient get the right treatment and the rest of the patient ain't get it, there was no answer. And after my mistress here, and she tell me, I said, needless to leave her there.
Well, why
And
you
that's
think they
not,
targeted her like that?
huh?
Why you think they targeted her?
Is not she alone. Couple well patient take self-discharge because of that. I can't say that they target she alone, but because the patient that get the right treatment is one of the nurse sister-in-law. And they could go back and check the sister-in-law record right now. The nurse named Jackie.
And let me ask a question. Did you raise this with the hospital's management?
No, to be honest, I did not. I won't lie to you. But after she tell me that I take shout and I have to carry she to the private, and which in that is wrong.
I agree with you. Now, I'm going to ask you to do a favor. Um, um, I'm going to ask you to do a favor. Supanam, there's a region too. There's a
Yeah,
regional health officer there. Find out who the regional health officer is. And also, you have the possibility, we don't have to be afraid of anybody as a public, tax-paying
yeah.
public. And so, you have that right to complain. The mere fact that you're calling here, it means that you're brave enough. So, here is what I'm going to suggest to you. You have two courses of action. You have the
Yeah,
regional health officer of Region 2, and you
yeah.
also have the hospital's administration at Saudi there. So what you need to do, you need to approach those people, take some time, pick up the phone or go into them and let them. You have to file a complaint, and let complaint and let us see where that goes. But do not sit on it. The earlier you do that, the better.
Okay.
All right, you could do that.
Yeah, good. Thanks very much. And keep up your good work. I just listen to you every single day.
Yes, my brother. Thank you very much. God bless you, my brother.
Okay, same to you.
Yes. So good day to all the folks down in Region 2. The Supernam folks all the way down to Charity there. I'm not familiar with all the villages, but I do know that there's a very beautiful lake there, Lake Mainstay. And I went there a couple of times, and it's very scenic, beautiful from overhead, the way it is laid out. We have some very beautiful places here. I want to say good day to all the minibus drivers, all the taxi drivers, all the hire car drivers there. Make sure that you guys wear your mask, make sure that you keep your passengers safe, make sure that you don't overcharge them. And we have a person already here, I think all the way from Europe, and she's saying, Bibi Shabira Hussein, she's always been with us from day one. I always see this name here. A good day to you, Bibi. And she's already saying, we can open up some computer office, we can take and use computer fix up so it can be cheap and we can have many kids and schools. And this is a very good idea. These are some of the things that I want to hear. And I want to say thank you, my dear. We are going to continue doing it. So whatever little that we could do to ease the plight, because it is unacceptable that in this day and age on the coast that we can do our own little things to help a little neighbor, help somebody. And they're sure in every village there's somebody who's a little more fortunate. I'm not a very rich man. In fact, I'm not rich at all. I live from, I won't say month to month, but I have some facilities, which is a must in this business. You must be connected online, and I am willing to share that. And it's a little that I can do for this country. So I'm going to say a good day to Mr. Audie Hendricks, all the way there from Game Express. How are you doing, sir? You and your wonderful staffers. And he has invited me. He's back in the country. He was stuck overseas in Florida. Must tell you that. He probably don't want me to tell you, but he's back in Guyana. A wonderful individual, a wonderful Guyanese, wonderful human being. And I want to say thank you, sir. You always reach out. Sometimes I forget to call you, but you're there, and it's good to hear from you. And of course, I want to say a good day to the Barbies folks all the way to Skeldon Line, Pant, Corriverton, Molson Creek. Come down there to the number 46 village, I think, 43, 46 village there, Nanpasada, to Mohin, and Raj, how you guys doing there? And all the way to Port Moran, Rose Hall, going down there to the Wim. How you guys doing? So I want to say a good day to also to the people in Grove Diamond area there. I've reached out to the NIS folks and I'm asking them for a number that we could be texting, that we could text some of those complaints that we've been having. And I think they were just trying to call me back, but I'm going to continue the conversation because the majority of complaints that we get in that I've been receiving is about NIS. It seems to be a major problem for people now, and we have to continue to work with this. And it's one of the things that I would have to say to the president, maybe when I write my column this weekend, that we should be looking into NIS in a big hurry because NIS is facing some major issues there. We have to change our attitude in terms of services. This is a key entity that serves all Guyana. And so when we come to making sure that our people are protected socially and otherwise, NIS has to deliver those services in a very timely manner, in a very efficient manner, so our people would not be complaining the way that they have been complaining here. So could we try back that call, sir? Could we do that? Could we, sir? Could we call that number again? So we are gonna try to get onto that parent there because I want to open up these lines here and all the messages in the meantime. 6222222. I want you guys to send those messages in. Tell us what you're thinking. Should a parliamentarian who says that he and his people has been poisoned, should he be sanctioned? Is it right? Does he have the right to do that? If you've been warned once, you don't take it down. Is it disrespectful to the National Assembly there? So it's all happening here. It is September the 17th, 2020. And good afternoon, Leonard. How on the Escobar Coast transportation fare doubled? Somebody complaining there. Just talk about that there. So you guys got to be a little more careful, man. You know, do not take advantage of our good people here. We have to protect our people. We cannot push them to suffer a little more than what they're suffering. Somebody say hi. I'm going to say hi to that person. I don't know what they want. Good afternoon. The Amazon Fire tablets can't work. The actual tablets work. Thank you very much for that. So we're going to have to find something that is affordable, that maybe we could probably use $1 million thereabout and see how much we could get. How do I raise $1 million? I have absolutely no idea here, but I'm going to be begging, knocking on every door, twisting some arms behind the back. I think I have some good friends in the business community, and so I'm going to call a couple of people, including my good friend there, Audie. If you listen to me, my friend, I'm going to be calling on you too. And of course, my friends there down at Nanpasar, they've always been very good. So I'm looking about 100, let's say 100 of these tablets or used computers, whatever you guys could come on board with. If you're overseas and you're listening to us here, whatever it is that you could come, that maybe we could get a donation from some good organization, we are going to do that. We're going to find a mechanism of making sure that it gets to some very unfortunate or the most vulnerable, the persons who might have desperate situations here. Yesterday I did tell you about this little kid because of the pandemic. My little son was telling me that the boy says, he don't have time for the school right now because he has to work, and he's just about 14 thereabouts. Heartbreaking story. I'm working on that at the moment, and so and then we have Gina Singh. Thank you very much, Gina. She's overseas, and she's always been so very kind, and has a lot of ideas and advice going on. And she says she has a few used laptops that she could send. And I'm sure I have a couple of technician friends across here. You could call them and we could say, could you guys just, make it ready for our people that they could probably be able to use it. I could probably do that. We have good people in this country. So let's go. Our goal is 100 laptops, or do we have a caller line? Hello?
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie.
Yes.
How are you, sir?
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
Basically, I'm calling here from Enmore.
Edmore.
It's pertaining to the sergeant of Enmore Police Outpost and our crew.
Yes. Somebody did call. It's you that called on that?
No.
Somebody else, yes.
Basically, the curfew is from 6 p.m. in the afternoon. And you could see this young woman. She's in the area locking up people from 4 o'clock every afternoon. She running on them.
But here what happened?
And then she getting her crew jumping in people's yard and get them to be arrested for what? We don't know. And she's tying up arrangements with people who got illegal wash bay and illegal rum shop. And she
What do you mean tying up arrangements? Are you meaning that she's allowing them to operate?
She's allowing them to operate, and
Uh-huh.
she's colliding with them, and she also have vehicle, and her vehicle go there to be washed it free. And we, the residents in Enmore, are kindly asking the Commissioner of Police.
I am going to call the commander right now after this, immediately after the show, and alert the commander. Could you send me her name? Do not do it over this airways, please. Send me the name and her status, whatever rank it is. This is the Edmore outpost, right?
She's a sergeant there.
All right, the sergeant. Send me on 62222. I want you to send me to that so I could be able to call the commander.
I don't have a WhatsApp.
Do you have a normal text that you could text?
No.
Call me through the switchboard, 2258491.
Okay.
Call me around 5 o'clock.
Thanks. Good.
5 o'clock is good. Thank you very much, sir. God bless. So in the meantime, could we call that number there? Yes. Thank you. So I'm going to read a couple of text messages come through here. My sister, we need an iPad or a laptop. We need to do some school work. I'm working on it. We're gonna find a mechanism in which we could get these laptop or the iPads or whatever it is that's going to be donated to these very vulnerable kids, and that is my commitment today. So, in the meantime, Mr. Duncan should be suspended from Parliament, and Mr. Harman should have a serious talk with him. Interesting. Hi, I don't know who that person is saying. Hi. Hi, good afternoon, Leonard. I would like the government to investigate the sales of Wales Estate. Staff houses also do an inventory of what was left of the factory. Operable motors were sold for scrap iron. Also, a new ransom was sold
Hello?
to... Yes, hi, how are you doing, ma'am?
I'm good.
Pretty good, pretty good, good. So I called you today because I know that you would have been talking to me about the kids in school, and you have kids in school. What has happened, and what have you found the experience to be like? Is it going well?
Well, Leonard, I can't say it's going well. It's going well for me, but it's not going well for a lot of parents because in the area you could still see a lot of kids about the place going about as if it's still summer and they're just playing on the road and everything because the information is not available to them now. My son and daughter, they're doing well because they have the facilities, but the kids are still not getting the proper information to them.
And have you been talking to the teachers in the schools? What are
Well,
they saying?
it's we've been I have been talking to a few teachers, and I also had the opportunity to speak with a woman from Linden yesterday, and she was telling me that in Linden the schools haven't even approached them yet. Now I don't know how true that is, but they the teachers are finding it very hard because the parents are working and the kids are not doing what they're supposed to do when they're home. That's those with facilities and those without just don't have any possibility of getting that information to themselves. They have to wait until their parents get home who have a phone, and then they will get the school work. Now, the parents have a lot to be blamed for too because they are leaving the kids at home and there's nothing there for them to work with. Now, why I say that is because there are some parents who take snapshots of the homework that's sent to them or the packages that they pick up, and they create blackboards and stuff like that at home, and they write the work and put it so the kids feel as if they're in school. So while this whole thing here is a really hard time, Leonard, it's hard for teachers, parents, and the ministers, but we all have to work together. It's an effort on everybody's part. And as a parent, more so, you have to be more concerned. You have to reach out. I'm not going to sit at home and wait for the teacher or the ministry to get information to me. I will contact them. I will see how best I can. I have already spoken to all my son's teachers and get their numbers. So at least once a week I can call to find out what is what.
But like yesterday, I think the point was made yesterday that, while this is good, that there's that almost hands-on kind of feel that you're doing it via Zoom because you're actually seeing the students and they could be an interactive session. When you send in the actual work, the printed material for them to do work and then resubmit it, I'm not sure about the time factor because if you have it delivered to yourself or you pick it up and then you got to deliver it back, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happened there. Have you had any indication from parents who are waiting? Because I don't think the part has started yet in which they're delivering those printed materials.
A few parents have already started collecting information via WhatsApp. I don't know about the printable one, but I know via WhatsApp some teachers are sending work. And it's hard for parents because not a lot of them can read and write. But what the teachers are saying is that we know you can't do it because you weren't trained to be a teacher, but what you can still do is call, make contact. Some parents literally don't make any contact with the teachers. They're not even, yesterday during a Zoom meeting my son had, there are some kids that were drawing private parts and they were playing cuss word music behind and very disrespectful that the headmistress had to get involved. And these
Wow.
are kids
Uh-huh.
that have Zoom. These are kids that
Yeah.
I would say a little privileged kids that have these facilities, and that's what's happening. So,
So it's one of the challenges that's coming out. At this point in time, do we know whether the kids that has those printed materials, how they're making up? What are some of the challenges that they're facing?
well, the challenges would be with the parents and the kids because even if the teacher gives them the work and they have to take it home, if the parent don't understand or the parent don't have much knowledge, they won't be able to help the child. And if the child is very poor in studies, then that would also keep them back because there's a reason why schools were created. And it's really, really hard, Leonard. It's really hard. Some parents are working. They barely have time. I'm not saying that that's okay for them to not pay interest in their children, but it's really hard, and some parents don't know. The work has advanced so much from what we know back in our days that it's hard for parents to help their kids now who don't have a decent education.
Let me ask you a question because this is something that's been playing in my mind. The absence of internet, a lot of families, we estimated maybe a third of the families now don't have access to internet, or maybe they have it on the phone and the kids might not have it. How much does that play in the entire scenario of research for the kids? Is that if you don't have internet, how badly is that going to
It's
affect the kids?
bad. It's bad because not everybody can afford textbooks, and I heard that textbooks were shared in school, but not all were there. Not all were there, and parents still have to go out and buy. And even some expressed concerns that they weren't told. They were invited to come and uplift textbooks, and when they went there, some wasn't available to them. So it's hard for the information that the kids need, especially with the broad teaching that they're doing now, and some of the things are about other islands and other countries, and these kids don't know anything, and half of the things about their own country, and then they have to go research other countries, and they don't have internet. The internet is moving like turtle.
Hmm.
So it's really hard. It's really hard for those who don't have access. I have done research for a lot of kids who don't have internet, and it's really bad because these are brilliant children and they're really bright and they don't have internet access to get the information. So, Leonard, poverty is playing a big role in all of this too. It's a really challenging time for parents, teachers, and the children because some of them are slow and they're going to become more slow if we don't reach out to them somewhere or the other.
I do thank you for that, and there's a fresh perspective on the entire situation, on this very challenging situation that we have right now. Thank you very much, ma'am, and do have a pleasant rest of the
Thank you,
day.
Leonard. Yes,
Thank you.
good.
So there you would have had it. The situation is looking pretty grim with regards to what kids are going through right now, and it isn't something that they very much that the authority could do. They're struggling, and it's all over the world. Even more developed countries, they are struggling to deal with this entire situation. They have some countries like United States and so on, and the more developed countries, they have created what you call the hybrid system, in which they have a combination of at-home lessons being delivered by Zoom and so on, and then there are some other systems where schools have reopened in some territories, but they are very strict in what they're doing. Do we have the resources in which to do it? Because even you go to some of the schools right now, the toilet facilities and everything in a mess. So we have, as a country, so much work to do to play catch up. That we are really back, and the pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic, has really exposed our weaknesses, our shortcomings, and of course our lack of resources generally. And it's also underscored a very important thing, that every dollar counts, and more so than ever, that we should make sure that the little finances, the little resources that we have, coming from our taxes, coming from our revenues from oil or whatever, it has to be plugged into things that are very important. Education is important. Security is a big issue. Pension is a big issue. The human resources services for the vulnerable, like the single moms, among other things. These are big issues. If you don't pay the police officers money, they're going to find some way of making it, or going to somebody else, take the money in bribes and so on. And these are real issues that we have to be discussing. And so pandemic COVID-19 has exposed so many things in this country, and we have to continuously have a conversation, continuously remind our leaders that these are the issues that are affecting people. I'm sure that they know about it, but we cannot sit still and hope that that sometime or the other somebody smart is going to take action. We have to consistently tell them these are the big issues that are affecting our people in this country. So I want to say a good day to all who've joined us, whether you're overseas or local, all across Guyana, all across the Caribbean. all across the United States and Canada and Europe. I say thank you very much for joining us on the Wake Up Guyana show. I want to say good day to Mr. Glenn Lal. How are you doing, sir? The publisher of Kaieteur News, as well the owner of Kaieteur Radio. And I know that he's very busy doing his stuff. But at the end of the day, we all have to do what we have to do because the wheel of progress never stops. And of course, we come into you on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 if you want to catch us in Berbice. And of course, the 99.1 is Demerara and Essequibo. And I want to say good day to the good people down in Linden there, in the Kwakwani, Aichuni area, Upper Berbice, Demerara area there. If you've never gone there, take a walk. It is something when you see the beauty of our savannas right behind Linden there. There's so many things that you would say, wow. I didn't even know that some of these places exist right in Guyana. And so I want to come back. Do we have any other callers online here? Yes, caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Anand Prasad,
Yes, sir.
and I'm trying many, many weeks to get you, and even between the elections.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gildarie, is that?
Yes, it's Gildarie. Go right ahead.
Yes, my name is Anand Prasad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling from Enmore.
Yes, sir.
We are traumatized by a sergeant named Miss Sardin.
Yes, I received some complaints about that, and I did.
It affects me. Me is the one that affected more as a counselor.
Yes. And you own a shop or something that he has been attacking
I have a
you?
shop. I didn't break no law. She charged me. She take me photograph and draw me inside a crowd.
Uh-huh. And they put you before the court as well? The matters before the court?
I go to the commissioner of police. I go to police complaint authority. I go to the local authority. All over I go for the disrespect. You see what happened with this sergeant? When one sergeant left, them a throw on because what happened? They have connection with one special body in the community, running a spite, using the police force to get to me. I have documents and prepare where people are using this place. All over the place, illegal. She come to me and tell me plain, shut down the shop where the shop don't open. Right?
Well, you can't, nobody could tell you to shut up, but I understand because...
And I go
right.
to the OPR for find out because they call the curfew the COVID-19 program. Then send me to the man named Mr. Kisoon at the OPR for update. Then send me to the commander, assistant commander, Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Now the point is this, that when I go yesterday to the commissioner, day before yesterday to the commissioner, when I called her, she said she booked me in for 19 hours. 5:45, the curfew didn't break because the curfew is 9 o'clock. 4th of September, it changed 6 to 6. I take my consistent in this community. I'm a counselor also. She interfered with the policy for the rights so I can exercise the mandate when the day up, if you do even reach late. But I never break the law since the law is there over the curfew of this killer, COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
She using the Guyana police force, and secondly, you know what she tell me? She let go to the Elvis side of want to go.
All right, we'll see what happens there. Somebody did call. I asked them to provide me some number names. Yes. And I think they're about to do that, and I'm going to call the commander myself.
I am the one that more she press on.
All right, that is all right. If without knowing the other side of the story,
I just want a little more, not much more.
Yes.
Listen, a lot of people are totally victimized by this particular side, you know. And since that in the commissioner and commander or whatever the case, innocent people are being charged, and she using this COVID-19 is so. It's not true. I get information of the facts that the video has been video, and she piece of video. She talk lie. She booked me in for the 19 hours. That in the station, which is 5:45. She kept me when me now wash me and come in my yard. Now, if I have a shop, the shop not interfere with her, but she interfere with she. She come and say, close the shop, when the shop don't open. Mm-hmm. I can't stop in front of me at the playground. I can't stop people, but I can only tell people every day, don't come in the playground. because they don't want no gathering, and the sick get more seriously. But she want to use it for her personal grievance because somebody will call her phone. Someone is your friend, and we know the game we're playing in here. Someone is your friend, and she go get to me with the speed. And then you get an illegal rum shop, beer garden, which council give pass and no documents or what. When you call for the land, the order for take place in that, she'll run down me. Which side you must get from? If you are the law to protect the people who are getting license and processing or whatever, how can you join with these hooligans? You call them hooligans.
Well, a lot of them, persons have been complaining to me also about, apparently some of the police officers don't understand what is it that they're enforcing, and they're asking people to do the wrong things that's probably not in keeping with the law,
well,
and so that's madness.
If I know to myself that the police are being trained to be professional, it's not criminality. And then you go tell me I went to the commander, Mr. Brown and Mr. Ali, and then I go that side and then tell me that there is if you got charged or whatever, and so how can you charge me and me not break no law? Why you take me and put me on bail and put me and draw me and photograph me or whatever because you have a grievance and a malice? That woman is a criminal. And if the Guyana police force will tolerate things like that, me particular Anand Prasad know my rights.
I hear you, my brother. I'm going to raise this issue. This issue was raised.
We have government. We are fighting for a government daily basic when wrongdoing are doing. The commissioner of police need to investigate this lady in a proper manner. You don't use the police force when you want to get to people.
I hear you. I hear you.
I need the world to understand. You know why I'm doing this? Going to the court and pay a fine for breaking the law. I didn't break the law. There is a lot of people out there suffering. For pay these people, and if you don't want to go court, you have to pay money. That is a magistrate court we have in Enmore Police Station. We have a representative in Enmore who they in the police organization. They don't want to tell this lady or tell the commander or whoever nothing because all is friendship. Let me stop this lawlessness and let the law continue to do the right thing. COVID-19 is a murderer.
Yep.
And then she cannot use it and murder a resident or young people bitten early before that she start to patrol and lay off people on the road. You can.
Well, I would like policemen or women like her to go into some other areas, not necessarily the way that she operates,
Sir,
but
in my case and respect, all we got to eat when the day up.
Right.
She don't want. Let me tell you, she don't need a police work to do.
Yes.
She needs to go and see and find criminals.
All right, I hear you, Uncle. We can deal with it here. I'm going to talk to the commander.
I am not scared about whatever be the case. I'm telling you the truth. The world need to understand. A lot of people are being victimized by police. The world know that.
I hear you. Thank you very much, dear
Thank
sir.
you, and I wish that there.
I hear your frustration. I'm going to deal with this personally.
One thing, sir.
Yes.
One thing. I don't vex if I have to go to court. If I break the law, she put 10, 12 charges.
I hear you. I understand that, and I know that you're very brave with that.
You have.
Yeah.
You're going to see in a second. I was watching my honor for come in the place. The gate in the school compound or the playground opposite me gate. And then everybody is 18 years and people is big man and big woman. The world showing the news about COVID-19 and keep distance. And then she too wicked. She take 2 or 3 of them boys and bring them. But then she tell the commissioner.
All right, I hear you. Here what can happen. I can deal with this. I understand the frustration.
Thank you.
Let me deal with
I
that.
need that. I am not scared about the law because I know I'm not bound overcome the law. The law is there for every citizen. But you cannot get in the police force and be criminal.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant day.
Discharge, sir.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. So, good day to the guys up in Enmore. I don't want to be a police officer because those people are very strict when it comes to doing things. They are going to embarrass you. But in any case, a police officer got to make sure that they are, or a police rank, that they are familiar with the laws. They can't tell people to do this and do that, and then it's not in keeping with the law. If the regulation says that you close at 5 o'clock, well, 5 o'clock the gates has to be shut. If the curfew says that it's 7 o'clock that you can be on the road, or you must have a good reason, well, then you should not be on the road. You are going to be investigated. But however, if it is that you're discriminating and closing people before that, we have a big issue with that. You would have to explain. So I'm going to talk to the commander with this, and so thank you very much for that. Good afternoon, Leonard. I would like the government to investigate the sales of Wales Estate staff houses, also do an inventory what was left of the factory. Operable motors were sold for scrap iron. Also, a new ransom was sold. One of the mechanics told me he was asked to start said ransom, and someone came and loaded onto a lorry. To note, a security was dismissed for this, and the manager who was responsible for same is enjoying life at the expense of the guard. So it is our factory there, and it seems as if the people scavenged it, people stole from it, and this is not good enough. People need to be taken, and people need to be punished for that. Leonard had just heard from that caller from Enmore. It's the first time Enmore has an officer that's strict and take no bribe. And none of the rum drinkers like her because of that. This is a curfew, and I'm sure she's making Enmore a better place for the citizen. That rum boogie that call is a mischief maker. My apologies, but that is what the person wrote. Said that the person, how many reports at the station from him, he cannot give the sergeant a bribe, and he is envious of the Wash Bay guide. So this is another side of the story that is coming out there. Please, and my cousin, we have to do. This is coming from somebody who needs some help here. Hi, sir. Me and my sister live in Good Hope with her grandmother and grandfather. When we need an iPad or a laptop, we're very poor in our work. We're very poor in our work, and my two nephews live in LBI. I need a laptop or a iPad, please. And they have given the names here. I understand that, and I'm going to work on this. This is a commitment that Gildarie has made. I'm going to work with our local, international, whoever it is, to see whether we could find 100 laptops or tablets so we could give it to those less fortunate people there. And so let me see what else I have here. Good afternoon, sir. I have a concern. While I'm grateful for the ministry setting up the learning channel, I think the videos are too fast for most students. My child sit but could not write or much less make notes because they're talking fast and the writing is off the screen quickly. Please, the grade 3 science topic for today. It was difficult for a grade 3 student. It's better suited for a grade 6 student. And all of this I've received complaints about. I hear you guys. I would have to talk to Minister Priyamanik Chan about that. Let me make sure I send her a note today on that. See, I'm not sure. This is, hi, good afternoon. This is the address for the station. I'm not sure what that means here. Good afternoon, sir. You're doing a great job. 2 months my landline is not working. I'm calling. They keep telling me it's cable problems. Call the PUC. Call the PUC. We had a PUC people here recently, and they're stating that they're willing to take all the messages and so on, all the complaints. For the station, is this Josh? Somebody sent something here. I'm not sure. I'm having, okay. I've been listening to you, Mr. Gildarie. While it's a good idea for people, while it's a good idea for people to donate to the poor children cause, if this government take $500,000 from the oil company, they could give every children one laptop. We allowed Guyana Goldfields to sell our land for millions, and the country got nothing from the said sale. And yes, it is indeed true. That is what we've been talking about. But where do you begin? If the government is there and they're not doing it fast enough, should we, or if they don't have the resources for it, should we come on board as good citizens of this country? It's a very difficult balancing act that you would have to play along the way there. In Minnesota, only 16 kids per classroom and sitting 6 feet apart. So thank you very much for that information there. Hi, good afternoon. We listened to your message. I'm enjoying it. This is Uncle Mahadio. Uncle Mahadio, wherever you're calling from, I want to say good day to you. Hi, good afternoon to you and everyone at Kaieteur News. We'd like to know that the phone lines will start working. That is phone lines. I would like to know when the phone lines will start working on the west coast of Demerara. I'm not sure what did GT&T say. How long was it done? I think is this had something to do with the cable? I need some more information on this. I don't know what to say there. Good afternoon, Leonard. I want to know if you can assist one of my kids with a device to do homework. As I told you, yes, I'm living in Suzdike Linden Highway. I have no internet access. However, one of the uncles is willing to let them use his. But my problem now is a device for them to work with. Thank you very much. So this person all the way there. So here is what's going to happen. We're going to have to create a short list or some way. But what we're going to do now, I'm going to start this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow, wherever. I'm going to be begging a couple of people there, let them see maybe we could get onto some call their people there, get onto some used computers. Maybe we could find out which organization they have there, if they could donate some laptops, some old laptops, maybe cash, if they have cash, maybe we could do some iPads or tablets, and we could do a mixture of it. And whatever it is that we could do, it's going to be a start. But let's aim for 100 and see where it goes from there. I'm sure I have a couple of people around the place, lovely people here. And so we could probably do a mix of everything, and whatever it is that we get, I think we're going to be thankful for those little kids. But let's do something. I'm going to make myself my home available to some of the kids who need some Wi-Fi, and whatever, wherever that goes, that goes. But I'm going to be calling a couple of my other neighbors too, and let us see if we can do it, because we cannot allow our kids, we cannot allow children to slip by the wayside. While we, for a few hours every day, it just takes about 4 hours for them to sit maybe on the shed by a house. And if you don't want them in the house, that's all right. They could sit down there. Maybe they could bring a chair and a table and they sit down there. And you could be able to allow them to. I mean, a lot of people, we haven't really done it. It's a strange situation. But we have to think of innovative ways, or come up with initiatives which is going to ease the burden on the government in the meantime. Because this is something that in another couple of years, with so much oil money coming in, we should not have this issue. But in the meantime, what do you do? Do we allow our kids to fall on the wayside? Absolutely not. So I want to say good day to the people in Grove Diamond area. If you're seated in a minibus, in a car, if you're seated on the veranda, if you're rocking in the hammock, if you're in the kitchen, or you're watching, you just listen to Kaieteur Radio, because it's your number one radio. If it's your number one radio, and you want to listen to the Wake Up Guyana show because Raj is here. He's your favorite person behind the controls. And there's another new guy here. I didn't get his name, but we training people. We want to provide jobs and make sure that they get the stuff here. But this is what Kaieteur News does. Kaieteur Radio also, we try to bring you a different kind of a thing, a different kind of speed, a different kind of product, a different kind of service, so where people could, stay in tune with what is happening. This is not a gap thing. You sit down over there and I interview you. We've gone past that. Now it's time to talk the real talk. Let's get down to the real issues and try to solve these issues together as people of Guyana. One people, one nation, one destiny. Could we have another call there, please? Yes, good afternoon, caller. You in the air?
Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie.
Good afternoon, sir. Pretty good, man.
I have 2 points of interest.
Sure.
First of all, I was listening to Mr. G.H.K. last night on his point of interview, or his comment that he usually makes between 7 and 7:15. You know the program that he speaks on, right? I heard him speaking about the visit of Secretary of State, Mr. Pompeo, to Guyana, and was saying things like he was here to deal with the Venezuela situation, he was not here to deal with the oil situation, etc. But what was disgusting to me was when he made mention that the APNU government, Mr. Granger, would have been in power today had Granger agreed to the Voice of America and the DA station being placed here. I was taken back by that, because I want to believe that for the 5 months that you guys were on the radio, you were lamenting to the fact that we were a democratic country. We voted. The people in this country voted. The people voted for PPC. They democratically won because of votes. Yes, there may have been hiccups as far as the counting and everything, but I was taken back because I don't think that was a proper comment to make about the Secretary of State, because I don't believe that Mr. Pompeo or the United States supported Guyana based on the fact that they wanted PPPC to win. they said, I could clearly remember that they are for democracy. And
That's correct.
whoever comes through with a clear vote and the right count is who they will support. They never said within the duration of the time that they were for the PPP or they were for Granger. So I don't think that comment was nice because the fact is Mr. Pompeo did not support or back Guyana for democracy based on Granger having given them the right to have VOA here, and also because he should have remembered we are a democratic country and we had an election, and the election came up where the PPP had more votes from the count and the recount, right? So I think that's very disrespectful to us Guyanese as a voting democracy and to Mr. Pompeo.
I agree. I am going to answer you off here, and I
Yeah.
do thank you for that. And it's a very good point that you've made there. I'm going to answer you.
Okay, the second thing is
Yes.
I had asked about having contact with whoever the policymakers might be for that GRA waiver for vehicles that have not paid their revenue licenses and to have the whole policy defunct, taken out, null and void, so that people could start paying from the time they are ready to have their vehicles back on the road. The unfairness in that policy should go. Did you make any strength on that as far as...
I did try to make contact with a gentleman there, and I didn't get through. And to be honest, I ran out of time. This is something that I have to, because it bothered me too. One of the issues that was told, because I did have a discussion with somebody, and somebody who's familiar with the GRS system, and what that person told me is that you had some people, some chronic people, I think, and sometimes when we come up with these regulations, we have to think all sides of it. There was some people over the years that did not, you would miss paying a couple of years. You just didn't have the time for it, or you didn't have the money, whatever it is. And then you go in and you take out for this here, and they allow you to do it. So as one of the things to deter you from making sure that you pay, that you have those road license, is to say that if you've missed a year, please pay for that year before you get this year. So they didn't really think that maybe genuinely that you had your vehicle parked up on the house, you're probably out of the country. But when they thought about it, they probably say, in the bigger scheme of things, in keeping with our policy will be this. What we're going to have to ask them now is to reverse that policy and says, but how do you determine whether a man actually had a vehicle on the road or not?
Well, first of all, I gave them an answer to that. The answer was, first, they could verify by ensuring or checking out that I never had insurance or the person never had insurance. Secondly, I will want to think that the police station is linked up electronically. They could find out that the vehicle never had road license. And I don't think people will be so crazy. There might be some, indeed, who would take the chance.
Oh, no, they got a lot. They got a lot of vehicles. They got a lot of
True that. But for 6 years, I don't think, and a person doing that, it would be a 1 and 4 situation. I would want to think.
Yes.
I am law-abiding, and I could only speak for me. I will not do that. So that's why the vehicle has been here. I sent evidence of the fuel pump. I had to drop the tank and clean it because the gas started to gum up. I had other issues. It's a GMC. It's not a Toyota.
Oh, no, yeah. Those vehicles are pretty difficult.
So I sent enough evidence to them. Furthermore, there should be no evidence at all for them to waive that. In the United States, and I know people are going to say, this is not the United States. Right. But in the United States, this is what we do. When the vehicle is down, you turn in the plates. The plate is a number plate that has the tags. The tags are the month and the year stickers on them, and you turn them in. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't turn them in, it is assumed that you are still using the vehicle.
Right.
You pay for it, but everybody knows.
I'm going to raise this back with them, see whether they're willing to think. I'm going to probably call Godfrey Station a little later. I did try. I wasn't so sure if he's in the country, but I'm going to try him back today and probably have a discussion, and I'm going to relay back to you guys what he says.
Well, I hope that the government, the administration, actually passes that down to Mr. Godfrey Station, because he is only working according to the rules.
Not necessarily. Some of these things here are not taken at the government level. It could be a GRA because of what they would have seen, and if they believe that they're leaking at this particular way, they could tighten it up. It's an internal procedure. I rather suspect in this particular case it might have been a GRA decision.
Well, that's why I told him it's a policy. The man, it's
Yes,
not, it's
I
not
would
a law.
suspect that. All right, I hear you, and I'm going to address both of them. All right?
If in doubt, you could replay the tape, the recording from last night, just to verify what I'm saying. I felt very offended, and I think it's a disgrace to Mr. Pompeo to come here and then Mr. Lal. Mr. Lal has to realize not because he on a radio station he could say what he wants.
No, that's not. No. That
If he
Mr.
need
Lal,
advice, he could ask Mr.
that Mr.
Pyramid.
Lal, that Mr. Lal on the radio last evening has nothing to do with Glenn Lal. That is a different individual. That's he writes. He writes. Yeah, GHK. He is
He's
how
a
you say it?
different person.
He's a totally different person. Mr. Lal doesn't come on. In fact, I've been asking my publisher to come on the radio, and so I think I'm going to bring him very shortly. He says, I think I'm ready to come on with your radio in a very short while. But let me answer you with GHK Lal right now.
Yes.
GHK Lal is an independent contributor to the radio that has his commentary similar to what Anthony Vera a couple of years back would have had a commentary running.
Yeah.
It is for his own opinion. Those are things, and I presume we'd have to talk to our people here. It is his opinion that he's offering. It is his thoughts. It might not necessarily reflect the thoughts of Kaieteur News. And we don't necessarily endorse those thoughts. But what he has done there is basically because I agree with you, the American has made it very clear that their backing of this country is to see the democratic process works, and therefore they want the thing. So I agree with you on that one there, all
If
right?
the recount had come back that the AFNU FC had won, America would have backed them.
Right. I think so too. So
I mean,
I hear you.
All of them would have, because all it was about democracy in the country. The Americans are not going to deal with anybody who's not democratic, right? And that was all they were saying. But to say that it's because we didn't allow VOA and the DA to be here, I don't think he said DA, but I remember the DA was an issue. But the VOA to not be here is not fair to Mr. Pompey, neither us as electors, right? We voted based on our right to vote for a party or a government.
I hear you.
Taking that away from us to say that because of that, because of VOA not being here is why PPP is in power. The Americans wanted who was democratically voted the correct way, the right count and everything, to back them.
I hear you, brother. Thank you very much for that, okay?
Yes, Mr. Gildarie.
Good. God bless. Bye-bye. So here you have it, George Sunnell, and he is saying, is it true that we'll be able to bring in cars in the country from as far back as 2001? Of course, I think the government, based on this budget here, they are lifting the 8-year restrictions. Of course, when you bring it in, you know that you are bringing in a car that's older. So that's a very good thing. Persons who might not be able to afford the new ones. I think I have a couple of issues with it, and this is Gildarie talking though. I would have loved, instead of allowing those older vehicles and maybe the reintroduction of the used tires, maybe they could have dropped the taxes totally. Always make it those tires as zero rated something, or at least put a tax which is going to be environmental tax, so that people, it is something we have to make these tough decisions. It's like gas. I know gas is one of the biggest things that comes into this country that makes a lot of taxes for the government. I thought it might have been a good idea that we bring down the cost of new tires for persons, because I bought 4 tires for my car after they would have introduced it. And those 2 tires are going on for about 2 years now. The only problem that I had, and I see W.I. Riaz has joined me. Thank you, my brother. The only problem that I had, there was a long screw that went into one recently. I had to put a plug and then I changed it. The other issue has to do with those vehicles, and here's where you probably come in here. I think that maybe one of the things we should be pushing for our country not to have those gas guzzler vehicles. I think while everybody has a right to drive whatever they want to drive, you put some disincentives that would, protect our roads. If you go to Europe, they're not having those vehicles with big engines anymore. You have a big vehicle, but it might be 2,000 cc. That's how they're making them so very efficient, because they have strict environmental regulations here that has to do with emissions and things like that. And so those are very good things. So there's a couple of things that we could have done. I think I would have loved to see them dropping the taxes on the new vehicles, so we could make it. I mean, I want a new vehicle. I could barely afford to buy an old vehicle that is going to give me hell because you have to find parts and things like that. I want to jump in my car and come to work. And I think those cars from the 2000s and so, those Toyota cars are good for the Guyanese persons who are working, man. The salary is not fantastic, like for me. And so you're able to afford the parts and so those Toyota parts. But in Guyana, we have to start thinking maybe on those
As it
things.
is.
What are some of your thoughts?
I like that as it is. Good afternoon to all the listeners of Wake Up Guyana, online and on Facebook as well. I like that thought because you know why? I am one that has been very passionate. Two spins was very upset and very passionate at his back for a few reasons. Now, let's stick to the last part of the question that you just questioned out to the public. As an individual, in terms of a car, the newer model car, actually, some of them may cost you a little bit less. And I'm going to use two examples only. A Nissan Qashqai. I hope I get the name right.
Yeah,
It looks something like a Nissan X-Trail.
Yeah, smaller version of that.
Good. Now that vehicle is a 1200cc engine only. Lovely vehicle. Landed, it may cost you between 2.2 to 2.4. 3.2 to 3.4 million. That's a 2015 or 16 there's about. Now obviously, a little bit about 3 something, a middle income man or wherever it is, he saves up, he buys that. If you're a person that is passionate like me for Evo, a Mitsubishi Evo 8 or 9, landed in Guyana, that car will cost you about $6 million. Right? However, being it a 2006, 2007 car, safety on that 2006, 2007 car is equally or even more advanced than this 2015,
Right.
16 for many reasons. Something that is called yawn control that is not on them. It's a 4-wheel drive car at the end of the day, independent suspension. My simple point is that we should have an option. I still believe in the option of owning whatever you want. And I'm thinking, and I've heard of this, that the hybrid vehicles will get lesser duty. I know of an individual right now that paid a minimum little under $600,000 on a duty on a 2019 electric vehicle.
No, my sister bought him one into the country.
Okay, so you have an example explanation for me.
And she has a Nissan, I think a Nissan, I forget what
I
it is.
can't remember the name of this
Yeah,
vehicle. This
Nissan
was-
Leaf. It's a Leaf.
Actually, that was it.
Yeah,
I think
Nissan
that's the
Leaf.
same vehicle.
No, but hold on. Here's a beautiful thing about it. That story freaked me out, but I'm going to come to that. She paid about $5,000 to $6,000, $5,000 to $6,000 US, which is about $1 million,
Just a
right?
little bit
$1
over.
million. When it land here, you pay nothing.
Yeah.
So hold on. The only thing is that you have a plug and everything. You got to
Yeah,
plug
well-
it into the. It might not take you up. It might take you up to Berbice, but you'd have to charge it back. But you go into that vehicle, you don't hear any engines, or you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
It's so damn silent.
I'm
It's so
saying,
silent.
these are all things and options. So I am, and I think that is June just asked a question. In Canada, there is a certain age need on vehicles and inspection yearly. We have that same inspection in Guyana as well, June from in Canada. But my thing is that it's a bit, I am a supporter of the bringing of the vehicles. We're no longer going to see things like an 8170 or a 8150 or a Datsun coming to Guyana because those cars are no longer manufactured out of Japan. So it is, maybe you wouldn't see like how you used to see a fleet of those type of vehicles coming. It will not happen because it's not available. Right? Now, something that is I'm very perturbed about that I heard yesterday in Parliament, and you know, it's interesting how some parliamentarians speak because you're a parliamentarian. The nation has been very educated about stats, figures, and data as we go about. How can a parliamentarian stand and say that used tires have caused accidents in Guyana? When less than a year ago, the Guyana Police Force, on a program with Mr. Nazim Hussain. I think I was in the studio or was looked somewhere between it, said that they have no statistics, no data, no facts to back that evidence up. Second, to begin with, this same honorable parliamentarian went on further to say that all vehicles damage it. I have it on my status, so I'll give you word for word, because I'm very upsetting when we stand in the house and lie to the public.
They can do it because of ignorance.
All right? But those are ignorance that we... okay. Says that facts of all the vehicles cause or can cause damage of limbs in society. Can you prove this to me? Where did it happen?
It has to come with statistics.
And there was no
Scientifically.
statistics to back these things.
Right.
So I think MP Lewis need to go back to the drawing board before making accusations like that. I think we are given. Canada and the US have a drive-in used tire market. Trinidad, Suriname, it have to pass, and this is where
Of course.
this is where I will call on the Consumer Association. You have to pass, let it pass.
The
requirements.
Bureau of Standards too would have to play a
Yes.
very big role.
Let me give you a quick example. I'm not saying this I'm for and against. I'm giving you this quick example. A brand new Chinese tire and a brand new, I'm just going to use, let's say, a Goodyear or a BF Goodrich. I am going to go with the used BF Goodrich over that Chinese tire, the brand new one.
Mm-hmm.
Infrastructure-wise on the tire, and any sane person who drives a lot or knows car in depth, he will tell you, once it passed the requirements to get an importation, it is way better than that new Chinese tire. And facts, and I have statistics and data and facts to back what I'm saying as it is.
I hear you. So we got to start having these conversations here with regards to what could be and what could not be. Hi, good afternoon. We're having a problem with the landline. It's been a week now since all the lines are down on the West Bank. I'd like to find out what is happening, what is going on. Thank you very much. You know the sad thing here, GT&T. We don't see any, there's no ads in the newspaper. There's nothing telling the people anything. But they are doing some big things that go on for Guyana. And they're not saying the right thing. You know, this thing is really, really very upsetting when you have a very big company like this. So that tells the people absolutely nothing, man. We need an alternative very quickly. Hi, Leonard, following your program. I have a major issue with my neighbor, 10 more with a rum shop. Okay, good. I think this is the one that we're talking about here. I'm going to deal with that. Good afternoon. I'm living in Canal number 2 when my children in the Zoom class and blackout comes on and the internet is on. Is that my way? In that way, my child will miss the class. Yes, and this is one of the fallbacks. The question that you would have to ask here, and if you guys are hearing us in Canal very well, good day to the good people in Canal number 2 there and Canal number 1 and Parfait and Good Fortune. How you guys doing? All across the west coast of Demerara there as well. Wales on the west bank, and on the west coast there we could go to Good Fortune, and we could go to so many other places. Some of them I can't even remember. But it's a beautiful area across there as well. We have to pay attention to that. Yes, somebody complained about the landlines on the west coast there too. Do we have another caller in line? Yes. Good afternoon, caller. You in the air. Go right ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing?
All right, man. My dear friend. How are you? Go right ahead.
All right. So before I get to my main point, just to comment on two things. One, I have occasion from time to time to observe certain things that happen in the country. For my own reason, I don't work with government or opposition. And the sergeant in Moore, I can't talk about perfection. Everybody makes mistakes. But this particular ground that was mentioned, many people are in there after 6, and the lady does her job. I'm not saying she's perfect. So it's got two sides to the story. Secondly, parliamentarians, as Mr. The DJ said, I can't remember his name right now, has an obligation because they're supposed to be, technically they're the cream of the crop of a country. So the way they conduct themselves in Parliament is supposed to be a representation of our intelligence. And to make statements without being fully informed or providing statistics shows a very low IQ of our citizens. Because if there's the cream of the crop, you can imagine who's really bad. So they need to catch themselves. But I like to say that some of the teachers, this is my main point, are trying their best. My wife is a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see me house right now, When I go home, blackboard there, here she videoing all over everything she using from spooners, counters, to my straws, to my everything, and
Yes,
videoing.
yes.
And the problem the teachers are having, she's worried that some of the children doesn't have iPads, some of the children doesn't have access to internet. She's also worried that some of the parents are not up to date on how to help the children. But she's doing her best. The problems that I see for myself is sometimes we get this irregular blackout lately. So when she is on, half the class got blackout. There's one. Two, the internet is very, very, very slow. And this is a slap on GT&T's face. Because for years they were able to get away by saying we do not experience 4G service in this country. They claim we have it, we do not experience 4G service. If you touch Trinidad, touch Jamaica, any country that has internet, you would wonder what's going on. The speed. I ain't tell you about America, they move with, and we claim that we have 4G. And so with educating the students, this is one of the big challenges that our service providers that the government today will have to depend on are not providing the service that they advertise. And that's my comment on the matter. Listen to your comments off here.
Thank you very much, dear. And I don't even want to go to GT&T, but it's a good thing to hear what you would have said there about our teachers, and sometimes we give our kudos to just the frontline workers and we forget our teachers. They got some teachers, and Riaz, it's so very good. It makes my heart feel good that we have some very good teachers who don't really who sees this is not a job, this is a love, this is a passion, and they go beyond. You
And
hear
you
what
go
he's
beyond. I
saying?
know you're in a group that I'm in a group as well that a teacher only last week was sharing links to let children come that he will get come on, and he doing this for free, some English and some maths class. And that's like the type of teacher you're talking about, that you're willing to go beyond
But
as it is.
I could just imagine you're a teacher and normally in classes and everything the challenges is there, but you're in the class and you've seen all the students there, and I happen to know a couple of them. My kids, my daughter teacher in school here for the grade six, and she's aggressive. Imagine this new school in Diamond, they're producing some top students for Queen's College and so on, and she's at home, and you got to see the frustration that's there, that some parents they just can't afford, some parents are not even reaching out, and then you have a hybrid system now. Some kids are going to classes, some kids are going to get the lessons. So how do you deal with that as a teacher? So it's a big issue. But to come back to the other issue that this gentleman has raised about the cream of the crop, I think that was a word that you used, or that was a term that you used to describe some parliamentarians. And I can't understand this for the life of me when it comes to sitting in the highest lawmaking body in this land here, which is supposed to be a privilege and honor to serve, that we have people still, excuse me, in the campaign mode. And we have people believing that this is a fish market, that you have to score points. How about country first?
I saw the honorable speaker make alluded to a couple of notes this morning before
No, it's Sharon Duncan and
starting,
it's nonsense. And
right?
if the man tell you to take it down, you have to listen to him.
Yeah, exactly. So I heard I'm getting bits and pieces. I'm trying the best to listen to the most that I could with the debates. I missed quite a lot, but I'm listening to the ones, and it's not selective. It's just at the moment that I have the time available, I'm listening. And the honorable speaker said that words like lies, shut up, I don't know to them, shut your mouth, don't bring them here.
And he's right.
bring
And
them
knowing Mansour
And-
Nadir, Mansour
yes,
Nadir is going to
I-
put his foot down.
And he's been showing that, and this goes for across the board parliamentarians. You notice I didn't say PPP or AP and UFC, parliamentarians, and we have to understand that. I keep saying this that I keep saying yesterday, and I've said this many times, is that the nation is more educated or more well fed with information 10 years ago than today.
But here
An
the thing.
example, the parliament, well, a few years has been going live, but it's more accessible in the sense that
Right.
it's now, it used to go live on a TV. Now it's being accessed all the time. A few times parliament back, it used to get the parliament in the night, then what happened in the day and the night. Now you're getting it live on your phone bit by bit, just like how you're seeing world news and fit faxes all around the world. So we've been educated more. And I think it's a pull-up socks for all. As
No,
it
it should
is.
not be business as usual. Imagine you shouting. And this is a place, there's some traditions in Parliament. I covered Parliament, so I could tell you about it. There's something called a Privileges Committee, and that committee there, if you mess up in Parliament, they could pull you up. There's some traditions in Parliament that people don't know. If you're a first time parliamentarian about to make your maiden presentation or speech, they allow you without heckling, without going after you. It's a well known old tradition that they allow you to do that and bask in your glory that you made the presentation there. I guess we've thrown that through the window. Traditions has gone through the window.
Yeah,
We here now, we in the fish market. And I wouldn't be surprised one day I wake up and hear somebody shining shoes from one side to the house to the other
I
side,
wouldn't-
because that's a madness that's happening
wouldn't-
here.
I wouldn't like to see
No,
that.
no, but it is. But here you are in the lawmaking thing, and instead of us talking about, that presentation that you made there, $1.7 billion,
You
that
see.
is going to go to the Amerindian Fund for the development of the Amerindian. Let me tell you, $1 billion alone is for land titling. What are you going to do with $700 million? But you use $500 million over there to do festivities. Why don't we pull that? That's not important now. It's pandemic. Let's put that in that. Those are the kind of debates that we want to see in our house. But guess what? We're gonna throw thing. My arm is bigger than your arm, and those are the kind of
Nanda
conversations that we
Prasad
having.
says
Because they've
behavior-
lost respect.
the
They've lost
behavior of
respect.
Parliament is like 5-year-old kids. Oh my.
Yeah, but
Karen Smith is telling us a little bit about that Nissan Leaf. I
Yeah.
did some research on it, and you're actually, Karen, you're just about right. The lithium 40 to 62 kWh battery, it drives about a range about 150 to 226 miles.
But the car, you don't hear anything. It freaks me out.
Yeah,
I
there's no
think.
engine. I have checked a few sometime in Canada. It's just amazing, it starts and you're standing next to it.
No,
hear
you
nothing.
don't know. There's nothing that is going. You can't hear any engine or
Yeah,
anything.
there's
But the
the-
lights are on, the music, and it's nice ride. But let me go back to some messages. Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. I'm living in Parfait Harmony. You said help your neighbors. My neighbor has 5 children. Personally, give them my Wi-Fi password to use to get their children to do what their school work, because they have the laptop and tablets, also phone bill. But they still have the house, they still have the children doing the housework and running all over the road. Now, you have to put down your foot in this case. If you're giving your neighbor their Wi-Fi so the children could be able to help to do the school work or whatever it is that they're doing, and they're running all over the road, you call your neighbor and you says, look, I am being very nice, I'm facilitating this, but I expect some things in return. I don't expect that during classes that your kids are going to be running off the road. If they're going to be doing school housework or so, get them up early in the morning. I used to do school housework. You ever did housework, boy?
I did.
I used to have to sweep the yard before I go to work.
I did.
I used to have to sweep the entire yard. I used to enjoy it, but I don't know why. I felt at peace and some,
Oh,
some
I
weird
got-
things.
Oh, someone, I know the person that sent you this story about the rum shop and the message. They sent me the message as well too. So
No,
I've heard the person said, "I fed up, bro." I saw they sent me. I guess
Yeah,
they
but
sent you-
somebody is saying that there's two sides to the story too. That
Yeah.
so we got to be very careful. But I'm going to talk to the commander about it, because if somebody's complaining about abuse of power, then there's something wrong here. Good afternoon, Leonard and company. Could you guys talk about the Guyana Police Force? Someone said they are officers' family, and only the officers' family enjoy the free course and scholarship offered to the force. Yes, there's a clique when you reach up to a certain part that that they're the ones benefiting and so on. And the ranks, we would have received stories, complaints about the ranks up in Berbice there, who are the women are being, they guarding some of the facilities where the COVID-19 patients are, and they're out in the guard hut. Mosquitoes more than them in the night. But guess what? The women have to use the toilet in the bush. You understand what I'm saying? Bush toilet.
the mosquito.
No, but let me
I
tell you,
try
this is
not to.
totally unbelievable. And this day and time that you
Yeah.
send in the women there, and the women police ranks, and they're nothing. And so it is something. This whole police force has to be revamped. Our army. It's impossible for us to have thousands of army people just sitting there. We're not in a time of war. You need to use the army. We have engineers down there. We have pilots. We have accountants. We have so many other things they could do. You know, we have some of the best engineers in this country who are in the army. They could build bridges because they train for that in case of anything happen. You should be able to do this very, very quickly. They train in emergency stuff. So that's why you have somebody like Kester Craig that is at the CDC, because in the army you have to know logistics and a whole bunch of other stuff. And so we have to relook at what our army is doing, and maybe we should have an army. An army is needed because of Venezuela and so on and so forth. But what do you keep feeding 500 thousands of people? We need to use them for the development of this country.
Definitely.
We need to do it on the border. Look, here's a
and relations is what create friendliness in society, and that is what all nations will do. If you have a good relationship with your neighbors or developing nations, they will support and assist in whatever way that you can. And I'm gonna jump boldly out, and the hottest discussion and talk in the city is about the arrival of the U.S. Secretary of State. Why do we be so negative in society, or some section of society be that negative of this individual? Are you aware of the powers of the Secretary of State of the USA? Are you aware at what level this individual stands when it comes to politics in the US? We've already heard that he's the highest ranked politician that'll be visiting Guyana. Don't we think that we should have a little bit of pride that, someone of great magnitude come to the shores of Guyana? And then I see on Facebook, and I posted it. It's fine. I've been criticized of posting the billboard at the Rahman store. I posted a story today, a picture store by the roundabout today, and by somebody say like you're an American. I've been to the U.S. umpteen times. My language never changed. It's never changed because where I'm from is Guyana. Sir, good morning. Where are you from? I'm from Guyana. Mm-hmm. What do you do? I'm media related. He said, and there are three things that you could never change from me, Gildarie, and it is my country, me as an individual, and my religion. You will never get that out of me.
No, well, we have to, we have
Right?
to, we have to keep, and we have to be very proud.
And I'm very proud of it.
Oh.
No, I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting at. I am proud as I'm a Guyanese. I went a few years back in Trinidad to do their chutney monarch competition. They didn't know my name. What, they know me as, the Guyanese boy, and that was just fine. That was just fine, the Guyanese boy. That was just fine for me. Point is, if you get your uncle coming from States, you always chat with them and they coming from India, right, Raj? First time they're visiting you in Guyana. Obviously, Raj cleaning up the house, sweeping up the place, mopping it up, maybe put out a new blind or something. Aren't we gonna do that? Or am I the only person thinking that? So, if you clean the place up, and the place did need some cleaning, and you put some flags up, what's the big issue? You would have changed your blind when your auntie and uncle coming in the country. You would have painted the gate or paint up the place a little bit. What's the big deal?
Right. And I want to say a good day there to Mr. Anand Prasad, all the way in Florida, a very good guy. He's been with the Kaieteur radio. Everybody know him as Kaieteur Prasad, also the dental technician guy from Petersall there, has a very terrific service. So if you need to do some cleaning, you need to have your dental, whatever it is that you need to do there.
That's the same another type.
Yes, and he's all the way in Florida there. What a good day to you, sir.
I think I saw him sometime in New York.
Yeah, very, very, very good guy. He always calls how you doing.
Mr. Kubir,
yes. And he always says, you know what, could you carry something for me? I'm doing something there with he takes the entire palms, he gives them free fill-ins, whatever it is that he does. And those are the kind of people that we think, that's a good person. I should be tormenting him for some money to buy 100 laptops or iPads. We are going to do that. And so I want to use the show, use your show to maybe we could beg to some people. We want to do it because the kids, a lot of kids are falling out of the school system because they don't have the connectivity, that's one, and they don't have the device. And so we're going to try to do that. And then, of course, let's see how it builds. If it builds up,
As you now bringing it to my attention, it's a platform that we could use, definitely. Definitely. Someone says that, agreed, everyone have an issue with Mr. Pompeo visiting Guyana, but they will jump on a plane to go to the U.S. with no issue.
Yes,
That's true.
and one of my good photographer friend is and we have to continue looking at that. One of my photographer friend is asking, is an electric car duty free if imported into Guyana? Yes, it is. In fact, I don't think there's any taxes or anything when it lands here. And I'll tell you the story. My sister.
Even those electric bikes, I know someone had brought a few.
What about hybrid vehicles? The hybrid is
hybrid. From my knowledge, the hybrid is that because it's a hybrid, there is a half and half between it. The actual formula that is used to calculate the tax, I had it. I don't have it on my hand right now.
Also, you have some incentives from that.
There is some incentives. I know my friend Louis Kumar is locked in with me right now. Louis, I know you would send some facts on that as well. I know there is a lesser duty. Let's put it that way. It's less duty on a hybrid. No duty on the electric, from what I understand. Less on the hybrid and more on your gasoline vehicles. So you have options. So why are we creating the issue about the older vehicles? You have options.
You have options. We're bringing it, and so my sister paid $5,000. So what she paid in total, 5,000 is about just over $1 million. $1 million, that's it. So that's what you paid, and you have a beautiful car, a Nissan Leaf, and it's electric. The only thing you got to plug it in whenever. You don't work with gas. The only thing that you got to fix is tires and brakes. I think that's about it. And just make sure that those batteries are all right. And so I think you might eventually have to replace the lithium battery, but that's about it.
Down the road, and this is me just foreseeing, this is me just thinking ahead of the road. With the completion of a new bridge, with the completion of more roads, I am wanting to think, and this is me trying to think ahead, I'm wanting to think that there will be more incentives when it comes to vehicles. And this is meaning duty. Mind you, let us make this clear. I am not working for the government of Guyana. I'm not being paid by the government of Guyana. I have no affiliations. I have friends who are ministers, but that's it. So this is me thinking ahead. As we know, we're talking so much about the development of oil and for the nation, but I'm assuming, and this is just an assumption, someone could tell me I'm wrong, that's fine, or someone could say I'm right. But I'm assuming with more roads, as we further develop the nation, I think that we will have concessions. And especially concessions on electric and hybrid vehicles. This is my understanding from how I'm trying to preempt and see situations at the moment.
Thank you very much, dear W.I. Riaz. This is the Wake Up Guyana Show. I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie. I'm here with W.I. Riaz, and we are trying to bring you along to make you alive, and to uplift your spirit. Today, Secretary of State, one of the highest-ranking U.S. officials to visit Guyana since independence, is going to be arriving in Guyana, and this is a momentous occasion. So I want to go very quickly. I think we have a couple of minutes, maybe 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. Let's see how many calls we could push in here. Good afternoon, caller, you on the air? Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Gildarie, is the police force just focusing on certain special area? I want you to know. East Coast car park by Beatrice Dean. 6:30, 7:15, latest 8:15. Sellers are selling alcohol. Cars park up anyhow, playing music, drinking. I personally called the operation room at 911. Tell them it's 7:45. What's going on in the park? Nothing has been done. So fire shops opening. They're going south shop opening. They're going Pontoon.
All over the country, bro. All over the country.
Yeah, and only certain area they targeting. Why? And this is right on the car park, where it's visible.
Hmm.
And
That's
the
why I
police,
told the man there I'd hope to see some police officer all over this country here that is
yeah.
going to shut down because we have to be disciplined. I mean, I can't understand why is it that would compel you so much that you want to drink so badly that you would go and endanger yourself, endanger your family, endanger your kids. Why would you do
The,
that?
the police stopping you and telling you, but you got to be driving with mask. And people standing up at the park, 50, 60 gang up, drinking without mask, and talking and laughing and going on. What is spreading there?
Well, Gildarie driving without mask, and I want to see which one that would have the balls to do that.
I don't drive with a
The
mask in my car
corners.
either.
Why, if you're alone, why are you driving with a
I
mask?
am
I
in
don't
my
see
car
anything.
alone. I
Yeah.
am not driving with a mask.
Yeah.
I bring that issue up yesterday as it is.
Right.
I am against it being in my car by myself driving with a mask.
Yes, sir.
No.
Go right ahead. Continue.
And next thing, I spoke with the former traffic chief. You have these bicycle patrol on bicycle, not motorcycle, bicycle on Regent Street.
Yes, sir.
They are parking up at special corners and just waiting to see when a driver lap. They're supposed to be doing general duty, looking for anybody getting robbed or protecting the people who going about the business. If you drive down Regent Street, you see the park up at different corner, waiting for a driver to make the slightest thing and ride behind them and stop them. They're parking at Regent and camp at the traffic light. And vehicle, private car park in front of the mall, where no parking park, and walking taxi, they telling them nothing. In front of aerial store, double parking right through, and they're right there saying and nothing. Some of them going and stand up there and drinking because right in front they have their car.
Yeah, take them pictures and send it out, man. We got to stop this nonsense in this country.
Yeah.
Take the picture and send it. All right?
Yeah, and I think you should change the name of Wake Up Guyana. I should name it Talk Up Guyana.
All right, let's see what happened. Leonard like wake up again. He says this thing ain't to do with wake up in the morning. He said make sure that you wake them up. You get them alive, prod them with a needle or something, or beat them with a bell. No.
Yeah,
If
so
you
I hope
listen,
this
yeah.
this evening when you're speaking with the commander, you can inform him what's going on at the car parks and everything.
No, I'm going to be thinking. I did start talking with the commander. One of them, I spoke to Mr. Nurse yesterday. I called him while driving. I'm not supposed to do that. And I called him and he says, that he's aware, but if, we need specific information. So the police are listening. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but they're listening and they're not going out and do anything because I personally call operation with my personal call 911 and nothing has been done.
All right, sir. All right. Thank you very much, right?
Okay, thank you.
God bless you. Bye-bye. So, hi, good afternoon, sir. I am a security guard of Region 3, Riverine area. We do not get paid for 2 months now. We contact the checker, and we say the region did not give us any check yet. The security company is Sentinel Security. We're very worried, and this goes on for a very long time. You guys got to do something better than this, man. Why is it that security companies in this day and age got to wait for a check? You got to have an overdraft account and pay the people and pay the people and pay their NIS. Do not do that. You guys are operating like scams. I'm not saying this company is a scam. Hear me very clearly. You guys have a security company. You got to have an overdraft. You got to have credit facilities. So if your check don't come in time, you can't penalize the security guard for that. That is nonsense. We're very worried, and this goes on for a very long time. Where we get angry, but if we're already in a crisis, we're hungry. I want my salary. I can hear the security guard there. So the security companies, you guys got to do something better than that. Make sure that you pay the people NIS as one. They got plenty of security companies guilty of that. Second thing is, do not start a security company if you don't have a credit facilities. You're in the wrong business. You're doing the wrong thing. You're owing the people. The fact that you're not being paid has nothing to do with the company there, with the people. And
Right,
so
I get a little bit of info. I did call on a friend of mine that was listening to us at the same time about
Yes.
the hybrid. Of course, because when it says a hybrid is basically an engine and motor power. When I say engine, it's gasoline and electric powered. So they work hand in hand or one off of each other.
Right.
So it comes with a CC in this case.
Right.
It is just under 1500 cc. Most of them on average are between 12 to under 1500. So he's just giving me that information that the duty will be less for sure on a hybrid vehicle. I wish
No, meaning that if you the duty and taxes on under 1,500 is like about 1.2 million.
Good. So I'm
Yeah,
thinking because it falls as a hybrid, it should be a little less on
I
the
think so.
GST.
This one I
Right?
want to know.
That's the idea behind it.
Uh-huh.
That's what my friend is also just trying. But of course, just clarify this a little bit more with GRA, or I'll try to just ascertain some more info as it pertains to that hybrid setup. But the hybrid is power and gasoline working hand in hand.
Thank you very much for that. And as we come to program time, very quickly, let me read some text here. Good day, Mr. Gildarie, and poor family all the way from the Demerara River. I have two children. I don't have access to internet. I need I need a laptop. Could you please text me signal? Does it be difficult to update? Thank you, sir. Keep up the good work. And as soon as I get these things, so I'm going to announce. I'm going to have to figure out a way because you don't want any person that may not might not be eligible. We want to make sure that this goes to the most vulnerable. And so we get a lot of the calls there. Good afternoon, Leonard. I'd like to get a computer so my kids could do the schoolwork because the learning channel is too fast. Good afternoon. I'm listening to your program. I really need some help. So a lot of people here are sending it out. It looks as if, we have a big need. We have a big issue that's going on here. Good afternoon, sir. I'm glad if the school in Fort Island couldn't reopen. They have 7 children that attend the school and have 2 teachers. Also, most of the school in the River Rain area do not have 15 children. I'd be thankful for the Ministry of Education to look into it. This would have to be raised, and maybe we could look into that. And Fort Island, I think we have some very good listeners there, all the way to Fort Island. In Esquibo, we have some places, Wyack and all those places. People are just tuning in. Want to say good day to Esquibo.
Yes.
So we come down, unfortunately, second day in a row. WR Riaz, and he's going to head into his show, and everybody's tuned in on that one. Good music, good talks, good vibes, and good energy there. And so you're going to be do not turn the dials, tune into him, and he's going to be here on his all alone, lonesome self here with the boys in the studio, and they're going to be doing the thing. So it's a Wake Up Guyana show. I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie. Guyana is, just to recap a little, some of the big stories. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, there's a U.S. Secretary of State, is going to be in Guyana, and he's going to be the highest-ranking official since independence to be in Guyana. Of course, this morning also one of the big stories coming out also is that parliamentarian been warned because to take down, second warning issued to Cheryl Duncan, a parliamentarian, to take down a poisonous food post. And I play upon words there. And so GWI owes GPL $7 billion. Unacceptable. How does a company, a state-owned company, rack up such a bill? What were they doing with the other money? It's part of the expenditure of GWI. They have raised the rates, and yet you have this bill of $7 billion. Where did the money go? So many things are happening. You guys be safe on the road. I'm going to be back tomorrow again. I think Riaz, I'm going to ask him every day, come by, let's have a chat. It's good to have company. I've been abandoned by my good friend, Dr. Yog Mahadio, and everybody
so
until back.
Good this afternoon.
It's a good day to Yog.
Hope he's using his rag nicely.
Yes.
It's a stone that I'm throwing at Yog. I could, because it's my friend.
I wonder what he's doing there. I'm going to have to call him. I didn't speak to him for a couple of days.
If he's using the rag nicely. I messaged him one day and he said that he still stand by that until it is.
No, the question that you should have asked him is, what are you using the rack for? I have absolutely no idea.
I might have to ask him. I might send him a voice note on that angle.
So I have a lot of work here coming down here. But the good news is that we seem to have a very clear idea where we're going. We're going to work on 100 computers, laptop. I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to be wringing some hands behind my back. Riaz is going to be on his show. We're going to be calling for some donations for that. And we're going to find that 100 students that we're going to give them to across this country here. And this is coming from Gildarie and Kaieteur Radio. So if you're missing the show or you want to see a replay of this show back again, you could tune in to Kaieteur Radio on Facebook or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And this has been a wrap. This is the Wake Up Guyana Show. I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie. And thank you, Riaz. Thank you,
so
gentlemen. It's been a pleasure today. Until we back tomorrow, same place, same time.